Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself and my partner. I'm Marwa and my partner is Dia Safitri Shafri. We are from group 13. In this presentation, we are going to discuss about matrix. A matrix is a rectangular array of numbers, symbols, or expressions arranged in rows and columns. Matrices are commonly written in the box bracket. The horizontal and the vertical lines of entry in matrix are called row and column respectively. The size of the matrix is defined by the number of the rows and columns that it contains. A matrix with m rows and n columns is called m by n matrix, while m and n are called in its dimension. The dimension of the following matrix are 2 by 3 up because there are 2 rows and and 3 columns. A matrix can given by uh, A matrix can be given a name with a capital letter. The numbers uh, the numbers that are contained in matrix are called elements of matrix. Type operation of matrix. There are addition and subtraction, scalar multiplication, matrix multiplication, determinant matrix, transpose matrix, and inverse matrix. Some of difficulties experienced by students in this material include: students have difficulty in distinguishing rows and columns to determine the order of the matrix. In multiplication matrix operation, often students are confused because of the lack of the thoroughness in working on it. The lack of understanding of students are based on the nature of the matrix. It can be maximized. The students have difficulty because of the accuracy in doing it. When working on the problem matrix, students are required to be true in its calculation process. Therefore, teacher can only warn students to keep an attention to their trueness, and also a teacher must be able to make their student can distinguish things in between things in the material.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Saya Desa Fitri Syafri. I will explain about RPP and example of matrix. RPP or lesson plan. In general, in making RPP there are several points, namely core competency or competency inti, basic competency and indicator, learning objective, learning materials, learning method, tools and materials, learning resources or sumber belajar, learning steps, assessment, remedial learning, and enrichment. In making RPP, there are several points. The first is to determine the core competencies that have been made by government, and next is to determine basic competency and make indicators from basic competency. And here the basic competency is KD 3.3 is menjelaskan matriks dan kesamaan matriks dengan menggunakan masalah kontekstual dan melakukan operasi pada matriks yang meliputi penjumlahan, pengurangan, perkalian skalar, dan perkalian serta transpose. And the indicator of KD 3.3 yaitu menjelaskan konsep dan bentuk umum matriks, menjelaskan operasi aljabar matriks, menjelaskan jenis-jenis matriks, menjelaskan sifat-sifat matriks, menjelaskan tahapan menyelesaikan matriks persegi ordo 2x2, menjelaskan tahapan menyelesaikan matriks persegi ordo 3x3, menghitung determinan matriks persegi ordo 2x2, menghitung determinan matriks persegi ordo 3x3, menghitung inverse suatu matriks, menjelaskan strategi atau tahapan menyelesaikan matriks menggunakan masalah kontekstual. And the next basic competency is 4.1 is menyelesaikan masalah kontekstual yang berkaitan dengan matriks dan operasinya. And the indicator is menyelesaikan sistem persamaan linear dua variabel or SPLDV dengan determinan, and menyelesaikan sistem persamaan linear dua variabel or SPLDV dengan inverse matrix. The next is learning objective. Learning objective as a tool to focus the activities necessary, and here the learning objective is melalui kegiatan diskusi kelompok dengan model problem based learning, dengan proses mengamati, menanya, mencoba, mengasosiasi dan mengomunikasikan dalam pembelajaran matriks. Diharapkan siswa disiplin, bertanggung jawab dengan bekerja sama, terlibat aktif, dan memiliki rasa ingin tahu. And the next is the learning material. The learning material is very important because it determines what kinds of learning will be taught. So in this slide, learning material is matrix, and submateria of matrix is bilangan, persamaan linear, SPL. And the next is the educational method. Educational method used to determine how effective learning for students. And the method, example of method, learning method is scientific approach, and the model learning is problem-based learning, and the method is discussion, question and ask, and the next is the tool or material. Tool or material atau alat bahan as media for the learning. For example, laptop, proyektor, penggaris, papan tulis. And next is source of learning. For example, buku matematika wajib kelas 11 ke 13. And next is step-by-step learning as a procedure of learning each meeting. In this time, I saw pertemuan pertama for matrix, and here langkah-langkah pembelajaran terdapat kegiatan pendahuluan, 10 minutes is orientation and apercepsi, and the next The next is pertemuan pertama, motivation and giving acuan. And the next activity is kegiatan inti. Guru memberikan materi tentang matriks. Guru meminta siswa untuk membaca LKS, siswa membaca dan mengamati pengertian matriks dan jenis-jenis matriks. And the last activity is guru memberi tugas. And the next materi is example of matrix. Number 1, if the constant k satisfies the equation, then matrix K110 times matrix X minus 1 Y minus 1 equal matrix 0K. The value of X plus Y equal, the answer is, first we applying the matrix multiplication rule. So is obtained matrix K110 times X minus 1 Y minus 1 equal matrix 0K. We can get matrix K times X minus 1 plus 1 times Y minus 1, 1 times X minus 1 plus 0 times Y minus 1 equals matrix 0K. And we get the result is matrix K times X minus 1 plus Y minus 1 and X minus 1 equal matrix 0 in K. And that's obtained it K times X minus 1 plus Y minus 1 equals 0 is the first equation, and X minus 1 equals K is the second equation. And the next step is substitute equation 2 into equation 1. So we can get K times K plus Y minus 1 equals 0 is we can get Y equals 1 times K square. Then obtain X plus Y equals K plus 1 plus 1 plus K square is K plus 1 plus K plus 1 times 1 times 1 minus K. The next, K plus 1 times 1 plus times 1 minus K, and the result is K plus 1 times 2 minus K. So the value of X plus Y is K plus 1 times 2 minus K. And the next example, number 2, is diketahui bahwa matriks A 3 to M minus 1 minus 3, matrix B is N plus 1 M minus N 3 0, and matrix C is 5 2 minus 4 and minus 3. If C transpose is the transpose of C, and A plus B equals C transpose, so the value of 3M plus 2N is the answer of this question is, we know matrix A is 3 to M minus 1 minus 3, matrix B is N plus 1 M minus N 3 0, And matrix Z, matrix C is 5 minus 4. Matrix C is 5 minus 5, 2, minus 4, and minus 3. And we know if C transpose equals matrix C transpose is 5 minus 4, 2 minus 3. And we can get matrix A plus B equals C transpose N. So we can get the result is matrix 3 to m minus 1 minus 3 plus n plus 1 m minus n 3 0 summoning n equals matrix 5 minus 4 2 minus 3. And we can get n plus 4 3m minus n 2 minus 3 equals matrix 5 minus 4 2 minus 3. So the last equation shows n plus 4 equals 5 equals 5n and equals 0, and 3m minus n equals minus 4, so 3m minus 1 equals minus 4m equals minus 1. So the value of 3m plus 2n is 3 times minus 1 plus 2 times 1 equals minus 1. And the next question is number 3. Given the matrix A 3 3 1 2 and matrix B is 2 1 minus 1 1. If you meet A times X equals B, find the X matrix. And the answer of this question is first, if A times X equals B, then to find X is X. So we can get X equals A minus 1 B. And next step is find the inverse of matrix A first, and then find multiply by matrix B. So inverse of matrix A is 1 over 3 times 2 minus 1 times 3 times matrix 2 minus 3 minus 1 3 is 1 over 3 times 2 minus 3 minus 1 3. And the next, the value of X is A inverse times B. We can A inverse times B. So 1 over 3 times 2 minus 1 over 3 times matrix 3 minus 3 times 2 minus 3 minus 1 3 times matrix B is 2 1 minus 1 1, and we can get X equals 1 over 3 times 2 times 2 plus minus 1 times 1 minus 3 times 2 plus 3 times 1, 2 times minus 1 plus minus 1 times 1, minus 3 times minus 1 plus 3 times 1. And the result of x is 1 over 3 matrix 3 minus 3 minus 3 6 is matrix 1 minus 1 minus 1 2. So the result to find x is matrix 1 minus 1 minus 1 2. Thank you.